Sue the T-Rex, also known as specimen FMNHPR2081, legendary fossil, very dead, and uses they-them pronouns, at least according to their Twitter bio. 67 million years ago, Sue was a massive predator, terrorizing the late Cretaceous period. Now, as well as having 78.7 thousand followers on Twitter, Sue is also one of the most famous fossils to ever have been discovered. It is summer 1990 in South Dakota, near the City of Faith. A team of paleontologists from the Black Hills Institute are out looking for fossils at the Cheyenne River Indian Reservation. As they're getting ready to leave, they get a flat tire. Whilst the team fixes the tire, one of the paleontologists, Sue Hendrickson, walks her dog in an area she hadn't explored yet. As she was walking, she spotted what seemed to be bones. She recalled, "There, about 8 feet above my head, were 3 dinosaur backbones. I could see them clearly in the sunlight, as though waiting patiently for someone to find them. It took 6 people 5 days to remove the 30 feet of stone surrounding the fossil, and 17 days in total to extract the dinosaur bones from the ground." The discovery was Sue. With such a fine specimen, it isn't a surprise that a custody battle ensued upon the discovery of Sue's remains. It started with an American paleontologist, Peter Larson, paying $5,000 to Maurice Williams, who owned the cattle ranch where Sue was found. Sue was then shipped to the Black Hills Institute of Geological Research in Hill City, South Dakota. However, as news spread, Peter Larson began to get lots of offers to buy Sue. This reignited interest from Maurice Williams, who claimed he hadn't given Larson the right to claim the fossils, just the right to excavate them, and the federal government, who had an agreement with Williams over his land. They claimed that because Williams didn't seek permission to sell the specimen, the arrangement was invalid. The gloves were off. In 1992, federal agents seized the bones. The case went to court, who ruled in favor in 1993 that the fossils should remain the property of Williams and the Bureau of Indian Affairs, as Williams is 1/4 Native American. Williams went on to auction Sue in October of 1997. This move worried scientists. They thought this could start the commercialization of dinosaur bones. Think Jurassic World. 8 minutes into the auction, Sue was sold to Chicago's Field Museum of Natural History. The museum had a few helping hands, including McDonald's and Walt Disney World Resorts. In recognition of their help, McDonald's received 2 replicas of Sue to take on tour, and Walt Disney World also got a replica for exhibition. Sue was sold for an eye-watering $8,362,500. That would equal $13.5 million in 2021. For a long time, Sue was the most expensive dinosaur fossil of all time. The record was only beaten recently by a fellow T-Rex, Stan, who sold after a 20-minute bidding war for an eye-watering $31.8 million. For the record, Sue is still a legend to most paleontologists. As curator Jingmai O'Connor said, "Sue is still bigger and more complete. In paleontology, that's what really matters." Once Sue was purchased by the Field Museum, there was a lot of preparations to get them ready. 12 members of the museum's team took 30,000 hours preparing the skeleton. That's over 3 years worth of work. Another team spent 20,000 hours building the exhibit. All this time was worth it for the dramatic debut of Sue in the Field Museum on May 17, 2000, where you can go visit them today. Just in case you're still wondering what the big deal about Sue is, here are some key facts about them. Sue is one of the biggest Tyrannosaurus rex specimens ever discovered. Sue is more than 40 feet long. That's the same size as a full-sized school bus. Sue is also 13 feet tall at the hip, the same height as two Michael Jordans stood on top of each other. For a long time, Sue was the biggest T-Rex fossil ever found. But now this is up for debate. Another contender is Scotty, a T-Rex from Saskatchewan. Pete Makovicky, the Field Museum's lead curator of dinosaurs, said, "It's a sort of tempest in a teacup. When you look at it scientifically, you know the two specimens are about the same size. Either way, it tells us more about the T-Rex, showing us how big these dinosaurs could get. Imagine these beasts stomping the Earth 67 million years ago. Pretty terrifying stuff." Sue is estimated to have weighed a massive 9.7 tons. To put this into context, that's 1.5 times heavier than an African elephant. Sue is the most complete T-Rex ever found, at 90% completion. That's 250 out of 380 known bones, including a wishbone, or furcula, which is commonly found in birds, and the gastralia, which are rib-like bones stretched across the dinosaur's belly. Scientists think this would have helped Sue breathe. Before Sue was found, fossil hunters had never found a T-Rex skeleton even half as complete as this. We're not sure why Sue was so complete, but some people think the bones may have been covered in mud after the dinosaur died. This would have prevented other animals from scavenging the remains. Sue's got a big head. The 5-foot-long skull weighs 600 pounds. Sue's skull alone weighs the same as a grizzly bear. When Sue was found, most of her teeth were still present, 58 in total, and in pretty impressive condition, with plenty still connected to the jawbone. One of Sue's teeth is the longest T-Rex tooth ever found at 12 inches long. Like other T-Rex teeth, they are banana-shaped and dark brown in color. Sue would have lived to about 28 years old. This was on the older side for a T-Rex. We know this because, like trees, dinosaur bones have growth rings. Scientists have used these rings to determine that Sue had a growth spurt in their teenage years and reached their full size at the age of 19. Sue was the oldest T-Rex ever found until Trix was found in 2013, who was 30 years old when they died. Thanks to Sue's foot bones, we know the T-Rex probably walked at 6 miles per hour and ran at a maximum of 15 miles per hour. It's likely that the T-Rex walking on its toes in Jurassic Park was an accurate depiction, although the T-Rex would have definitely been beaten in a car chase. If the T-Rex hadn't gotten to the driver first, that is. In case you're wondering, we don't know Sue's gender. The dinosaur is named after the paleontologist who discovered them. Paleontologists are still debating and studying this question, so maybe one day we'll find out. Sue seemed to have a pretty rough life. There's an injury on the right shoulder as well as a torn tendon in the right arm. These are probably signs of violent hunting activities. There are also 3 broken ribs on the right side of the fossil. These injuries were healed, but one rib never fused back into one piece. Sue also had arthritis, evidenced in their tail, and probably suffered gout at some point in its life. Sadly, the end of Sue's life was quite brutal. Sue's jaw has holes in it that many believe may have been the result of an epic battle with another T-Rex. Although scars of combat on dinosaurs aren't uncommon, new research suggests that the holes in Sue's skull may have been the result of an infection. Unfortunately, Sue would have had trouble swallowing and could have starved to death. This infection may have been caused by a parasite which affects birds today, including pigeons, falcons, and hawks. As researcher Stephen Salisbury from the University of Queensland, Australia put it, it's ironic to think that an animal as mighty as Sue probably died as the result of a parasitic infection. I'll never look at a feral pigeon the same way again. There's also damage to the back of Sue's skull, but this probably happened after their death. It's not surprising that Sue struggled later in their life. They were so old by the time they died. They suffered problems just like any of us in old age. Being so complete, Sue helped fill in lots of gaps in dinosaur research. Finding fossils is a tough job, and a lot of the time dinosaur bones are scattered, damaged, or collapsed. With Sue, we have an example or map for other T-Rex fossils. Sue has also helped us find out about the T-Rex's sense of smell. An amazing part of Sue is that their olfactory nodes, used for smelling, are bigger than their cerebrum, used for thinking. This highly developed sense of smell helped the T-Rex be a better predator. And thanks to Sue, we know how the T-Rex used their famous tiny arms. In 2016, one of Sue's forelimbs took a trip to Argonne National Laboratory in Lamont, Illinois. Researchers took micro-CT scans of the arms, enabling them to look at Sue's bone structure and study how Sue would have used their arms. Amazingly, we wouldn't know all of this information if it wasn't for a flat tire in the summer of 1990.